It's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with the Coach. Today, our friend Poleag, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's spelled P-O-L-E-A-G. Anyway, he says, would you ever tell an aggressive person about your training in order to get them to back down? Oh, like, hey, I was a professional fighter for years. It wouldn't be a fair fight. Let's not do this. I could see this working and backfiring. Yeah, I could see that too. I have never done that, no. I'll tell you what I have done. I used to work at this restaurant long time ago. And my boss was having a really bad day. He was an aggressive guy. He's a big dude, too. He was a large, aggressive, angry man. Angry at life, angry about his job, angry about everything. Angry about his upper management yelling at him, and he would take it out on the employees. And one day, I was the only one at the restaurant besides the manager. And the manager, he lets me have it. And of course, I realize this isn't about me. This has nothing to do with me. Nothing. And so I say to him, man, it looks like you're having a really hard time today. You okay? And he was like, yeah, I am having a hard time. Excuse me. And he walks off into his office. And that was it. When else have I had to deal with aggressive people? Man, aggressive people come to my gym all the time. You know what we do? We spar. We have fun. When else do I meet aggressive people? Not too often. When do you meet aggressive people? I'll tell you when most people meet aggressive people. It's when they themselves are being belligerent. A lot of people think that people out there are just ticking time bombs about to explode, and maybe some of them are, but most of them are not. Most of them are just like you. And you are probably doing things to push their buttons, and you might not even realize it. And you might not be doing it on purpose. You're probably not. Something that bugs me is when people say mean things about my voice, especially when they say that comment, "Why don't you use your real voice, Ramsey?" I hate this comment on my YouTube videos. I hate it. Why do you always talk in a fake voice like that? It sounds so dumb. I'll tell you why I hate it. There's a historical reason why I hate this. Because I was mocked and beaten and just absolutely terrorized by bullies as a child. I'm a first-generation American. And when I was a child, I spoke a little differently than I do now. And they would make fun of me for it. They would say things like, "Go back to your own country. You don't belong here. Why do you talk like that, kid? Why do you talk funny? Ugh. Let's beat the differences out of you." And so there's a bit of deep-seated trauma there associated with people mocking me for my voice. And so when I hear somebody on YouTube who probably hasn't heard somebody with my type of voice before, or doesn't associate this type of face with this type of voice, and they type, "Why do you have that fake voice? Your voice is so damn..." It sends me back to being 6 years old, being pushed in the dirt, and beaten up by the bullies, and filled with rage, and just wanting to hurt somebody very badly because of it. And they don't know that. Well, you know it now, but just random people typing this on the internet, thinking it's a benign comment, like, "Well, why are you speaking in a funny voice like that?" And then they go about their day not thinking about it ever again. Meanwhile, inside, "I've murdered you 17 times already." So much violence going on in my heart here. So we never know what's going to set somebody off. We don't. There's a lot of wisdom in that old expression. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. It doesn't mean we should never call people out on their crap or intervene when people need an intervention. It doesn't mean we should never give people tough love. Because love isn't just being nice to people. That's a big mistake people make. Love is not just being nice or being kind. Love is giving people what they need to progress. And sometimes that's tough love. And a lot of times people hate that. Think of your parents, for example. If you had decent parents who raised you right, some of you did, maybe some of you didn't. I was lucky enough to have at least one of those. And yeah, man, my mom, she was strict. She was severe. A lot of times she wasn't very nice. Not even a little bit. But she did it out of love. Why? Because she was concerned for her children. She wanted them to grow up right. She wanted them to grow up being responsible and productive members of society. And if you let children just be awful and do whatever they want, and what do children want to do? I don't know, they want to eat candy all day? Give themselves a stomach ache? What else do kids want to do? They want to hit people back who hit them? They want to be greedy and selfish and have everything for themselves? And if we raise a society of children and never tell them no out of love, what happens? Well, we get a society of terrible, terrible people. So what makes these aggressive people be aggressive to you? Do you ever just walk down the street minding your own business, then some aggressive person jumps out and he's like, I hate your face, let's fight. Urgh. Well, if that did happen, that had nothing to do with you or your face. That guy was in some kind of mood before you ever met. But that's the exception. That's not the norm. And if that's happening to you every single day of your life, well, you're exceptional, my friend. You're an exceptional human being. Take that as a compliment. You might not like it now, but let it build character for you. But this is an interesting question. I've gone on for what, like 7-8 minutes now? And I don't think I've really answered the question, what would happen? What would happen if somebody came up to me being aggressive, like, oh, I'm going to fight you, I'm going to be mean to you, I'm going to beat you up. And then I was like, excuse me, I don't think you want to do that. I'm a retired professional fighter. I'm this would not end well for you, sir. Man, it reminds me of this sketch that I saw where there are these thugs. They're British, I think. They're out there on the streets of London or something. They got some bats, and they approach this guy. He's wearing a coat, and the guy he's carrying a gym bag coming from his jiu-jitsu class, and he's like, oh, wait just a minute. And he takes off his coat, and he's like, lads, you don't want any of this smoke? And he points to his purple belt, which he's still wearing, and then he rolls out a mat on the street, and he gets down there, and he's like, watch out for my left ankle, it's a bit spotty, or something like that. And the thugs just proceed to club him to death. That's what your question made me think of. It's an amazing sketch, man. I don't know who did it, but props to you folks. It's brilliant. But, man, generally speaking, I don't think it's a good idea to advertise your martial arts skills, because I don't think anybody's impressed with them, especially people who are already willing to do you harm. Like somebody who wants to hurt you, and you're like, I know karate. I know kung fu. I can box. I know Muay Thai. I can wrestle. If you pop into your little fighting stance, maybe they'll laugh at you. Maybe you will make them laugh so hard they'll start rolling on the floor, and then you can escape unharmed. I don't know, man. Generally, I don't think it's a good idea. It kind of paints a target on you. And then maybe that sadistic person who was initially willing to hurt you is now thinking, this will satisfy my pride even more, knowing that I just beat up a dude who prides himself on being good at fighting. And I'm now better because I beat him up. So that's what I think. What do you think? Is it a good idea to advertise to aggressive people your training or martial arts or fighting experience? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Now get out there and train.